Got Soul here, getting ready to do this interview with Ralph Tresvant of New Edition. He's got the new solo single out today, so we're excited to speak to him. Legendary, and definitely our big supporters. If you guys haven't heard the new single All Mine with Johnny Gill, it's out today. He's been working on this new solo project. Had to kind of put things on hold a bit and postpone the release, but it's out today, and excited to hear about more about the solo album he's working on, and what we can expect on that. So definitely excited. It's always exciting to talk to our legends, especially someone like Ralph. Doesn't do a lot of interviews, so we'll have a lot to talk about for sure. Definitely going to cover some of his history as well, like we always do. Shout out to all the New Edition fans who've been shouting out the interviews that he's been doing all day. He's had a whole press run set up all day to support the single. All right, Raphael, I see that. Thanks, man. So, all of Ralph's fans and New Edition fans have been going hard and promoting his interviews that he's had, and I've checked out a few. You guys have been tuning into all of them, so that's pretty dope. Much respect on that. Definitely a living legend. Definitely New Edition for life. We talked to Ronnie. Actually, if you guys haven't seen that, we talked to Ronnie DeVoe, and that's on the site as well. And he was hopeful that New Edition would get something together. But Ralph's here, so let's get this thing started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey, Ralph, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, bro?
Tom from I Got Soul. How are you?
I'm good. Hold on, let me get my headphones together.
Cool,
I'm
cool.
good, man. How you doing?
Doing good, man. I've been seeing you on this press run all day. How you feeling?
Tired. No, I'm feeling happy, man. Getting a lot of work in, getting a lot of the word out there, so I feel good about it. I'm feeling good.
Awesome. Hey, man, I got to say, this is a really special day. I know you've been waiting to put this single out for a little bit. The pandemic kind of changed the plans, made you postpone it a bit, but All Mine is out now with Johnny Gill. How does it feel to be in this moment, the new solo single?
It feels good, man. It's like back at home. I feel home right now,
Yeah.
This is what I do for all my life since I was a little boy,
Right.
15, earlier than that. But prior to being professional, I was running around the city of Boston getting it done, So this feels good to be out here and be able to do what I do and do it on the level that I'm still able to do it on. It's just a big thing to me. I'm having a great day. I've been grinning from ear to ear all day. My Rizz riders have been supporting me and riding hard, making sure everybody sees it. So I've been ecstatic, man.
It's amazing. Talk about, Johnny Gill's on the song with you, your New Edition bandmate. What's your chemistry like with him? Because you were on his single last year on his album as well.
Exactly. We reversed roles. He was the lead singer, and I was the supporting artist on a song called Perfect. That did really well for us, man. So we just wanted to keep the magic going. This is the flip side where I'm doing the lead on this one, and he's supporting me in my hooks and throughout the song. So it's just magic working with Johnny, man. We've always done some stuff where since the New Edition Heartbreak album, when he came into the group and our voices were introduced to each other and to the public, we've been loving the combination and working with it ever since. And when it's done right, it seems like if we get the right records and we do it the right way, people like that combination. So it's a good way to kick off my album or my project.
Love it.
Yeah.
When the announcement came out about this single, we couldn't help but think this might lead to a duet project between you guys. Would that ever be in the cards, you think?
You never know, man. New Edition has a lot of different combinations. So we've done Belle Biv DeVoe, we've done Johnny Gill, we've done Bobby Brown, done Ralph, we've done Heads of State. We tried to do Ricky and Ralph once. Me and Ricky was going to do that because we started out together, Ricky Bell. But me and Johnny's combination, we're still the best of friends and never left that. That's never changed since the Heartbreak album. So I believe if the cards is right, you never know. It's one of those things that right records come. The timing's right on everything. Why not? Why not?
Love it. So, this new single, All Mine, couldn't help but notice when listening, it has some elements, I feel like, from the newer generation of R&B, kind of pulls some of that, combines kind of what you're known for with some of the newer stuff. What inspired the creation of it?
The writer and producers,
Yeah.
They have a great little combination. They got an old school vibe to the music, and they kind of take the lyrics and merge this old school with the new school thing going on, like you said, that kind of
Mhm.
makes it current. So it helps me to be able to, okay, I guess it helps me to be relevant or have a chance at having a refreshed feel to it or something that
Yeah.
could still work today without feeling like I'm chasing, trying to be young and over the top with it, you know. So I found the song to have a nice blend of now and then that made sense. So let's just go ahead and do this because my voice is what it is, and a lot of my
Yeah.
voice on a lot of the newer R&B and the style of voice, Michael Jackson and myself and artists who have done that type of vocals or style of singing throughout the years kind of influenced a lot of what's going on with the R&B game right now anyways. But they mix that new in there with some of the filters and some of the stuff that they do with
Yeah.
um how the EQ stuff nowadays, and that kind of helps it feel like you're caught up or you're still up on it. You're not just totally old school and you don't know what's popping these right now, you know what I'm saying? Hmm.
Exactly. So we
Hmm.
were excited to hear the news that you were working on a new album, a few months ago when that came out. What can you tell us
Yeah.
about what you've been working on, with this new label deal?
The new label is right now is just myself, you know.
Yeah.
It's in conjunction with J Skill Records and mine's
Yep.
Nostop Records and SRG and their label, who has a whole slew of some of our favorite artists from Brian McKnight to Raheem
Yeah.
Devon. They got After Seven over there now. Um, and they're just killing it. They're just killing it.
Yeah.
Michael Phillips. You got Sean from Stockton's over there doing some things. I mean, we've
Yep.
got some of our favorite artists over there right now, getting ready to prepare to put out some. And they some of either already put them out, like Brian's out there right now killing them, um, and some of the other artists gearing up to come out to follow up what I'm
Right.
doing. And he's the man over there that runs the company, owns the company. His name is Claude. See, we call him CV. He's doing
Yeah.
big things, man.
Yes, he
Yeah,
is.
he's doing big things to make sure that some of this old school music still has a place in the game and can get heard and seen by the fans who want to see it and hear it. So that's why I'm proud to be a part of it. And it's going to be no different. Me and Johnny, we felt like it was a good home, it was a good match for what we were trying to do. And so far, so good, man. It's just, I think we're going to have a long history with these guys, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Love what they're doing over there, so it's definitely a good spot for you. Now, I got
Yeah.
to ask, at what point did you want to do another solo record? Because it had been some time since your last one. So, what was the turning point when you decided I'm going to do this?
When my kids started moving out and everybody was grown and going on, you know, had their own life, and I'm just kind of sitting around like, okay, it's getting kind of lonely around here, you know. Let me start doing some shows. Let me start surfacing, getting
Yeah,
back on the scene, and in the same place, just letting people know I'm active and up and running as a solo artist, as an individual again. And part of that is doing records, you know, and having to put that voice back on the airwaves and get that back current with everybody so that they can see first of all that I can still sing, I can still do what I do, you know, and do it definitely pretty well, or at least close to what I used to do it like. And at the end of the day, I still dance and move and got every, you know, I can still perform, I can still do this. So I had to get that back out there. But the motivation was kids gone, watching all the other members being able to go out and tour and do stuff with their individual project or their, and you know, the different offsprings of New Edition
yeah,
that's still up and active and running. They're doing their things at all times. You can catch a BBD show or a Johnny Gill's show or even a Bobby Brown show. You know, you can catch it. You can catch one of these guys doing something. And so I was like, I got to get out here so I can be in that same boat, be active
right.
and moving around and have my own lane open as well, so that I can continue to do what I do, whether they doing the the New Edition thing ever again or not. But I wanted to make sure my lane was open,
Right.
and of course we're always going to go back and do something with New Edition. But I needed to open my lane up. I need to make sure that it was active.
Well,
Hmm.
let me say we're definitely excited to have you back. It's long overdue. I mean, would
Thank
love
you.
to hear some details on this new album. Anything you can tell us about it and who you've been working with, what the sound is like?
Yeah, the sound is in traditional Ralph Tresvant. We'll probably do some guest appearances. There's some people that I want to work with that's new and some that are old. I haven't really etched them in, so I can go and really go there and try to put myself out there, and I couldn't get them to come participate on the album or something. Have people, excited about that. But there's some really prominent people that we all know that I love, and some of them are old school, like from my era and
Right.
before me, and some of them are new. So. I'll wait until all of that solidified. But I've already been in the studio with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis,
Wow.
yeah, they produced my classic album for the most part. They
Yes.
definitely put my biggest single out, Sensitivity. They put that on me. And classic, Do What I Gotta Do. Stone Cold Gentleman was over there with the Babyface, LA and Babyface's camp. So I'm actually talking to them about getting in their lab and working with them as well. Get some of that classic stuff on there and then mix it with some of the new. I've been working with my man Jason Anderson and putting together songs that I write and produce myself as well. It's another talent I want to show people, and hopefully they can see that I'm capable of, I know what I want to sound like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? So even when I go to these guys, a lot of how I sound when I get with Babyface or when I get with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis is how I want it to sound, you know,
Right.
and they just maximize it. They know how to take that and put it to that professional level. So I think I've learned that all throughout the years how to do that as well. And overall, just love songs, man, you know, a little bit more. I want to be able to in concert have people dance a little bit, but it's going to be a grown and sexy dance. It ain't going to be doing no cartwheels and over the top spins and backflips.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna keep it real sexy and make sure that it's in reminiscent of how the music that I grew up listening to, Marvin Gaye, Michael Jackson,
Wow.
you know, that kind of combo meets RT and meets some of the streets and you know stuff that we grew up in with the hip hop side flavor,
Yeah.
a little bit of that in there. So that's what it's gonna be like, man. To me, that's the album I've been wanting to make for a long time, and I think that I got the right team to make sure it's heard. So I'm gonna put that one together. I think we're gonna
Yeah.
do that album I've always wanted to do.
It's amazing, man. Excited, really excited hearing you talking about it. Definitely what we've
Thank
been looking for. And I know this year, is 30 years since your debut came out, back in
you.
1990. I mean, just
Jesus.
just just take us take
Hmm.
us back, man. Reminisce on that album for a moment. What do you remember about being in there and creating that?
Well, the main thing I remember doing is trying very hard. I was in there all hours of the night. I was driving around the country because I didn't like to fly at the time. So I was driving from LA to Minneapolis to Atlanta to work with Facing Them, then back to Minneapolis. Somewhere else on the map I was driving. I was just driving everywhere and driving myself. When I say driving,
Mhm.
I was in my own car with my uncle, Briston, a couple other cats. We was pushing the car myself from state to state to cut that album. I also remember feeling a lot of pressure that everybody else was already out. All the members was out there with their solo projects, and not only out there, they was having smashes. They was killing
Yeah.
the game. You know, Bobby at the top of the charts, Johnny at the top of the charts, BBD at the top of the charts. So I'm like, oh, now I don't want to be the only one to come out and flop. You know, after all of that. And I'm the lead singer. I'm supposed to be the one
Yeah.
who came out the gate first. What fans would consider, most people consider that Michael Jackson would go out and do a solo album before Jermaine or whoever, you know. But I was the last one,
Yeah.
and everybody's albums and careers was burning hot. So I just felt the pressure of not wanting to fail. And Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, they pulled it through for me, man. All of them. Babyface pulled it through. You know, everybody that I worked with put together a classic album for me so that I couldn't fail. Working with those guys, there was no way to fail during that time frame. They knew what was hot. They knew what the people out there wanted during that time frame. And I was able to get in as a vocalist and do my part to make sure that we got that. So
Right.
I was in good hands. But that's what I remember the most about that album. And I remember feeling relieved when
Mhm.
Sensitivity pretty much debuted on the chart overnight at one.
Huh.
It had broke records, the number one fastest rising song since Sexual Healing and all Marvin Gaye's doing all these people that I loved. I was watching it do all these kind of things and say, "Yeah, baby, I'm out here now. It's really real."
I love it, man. Love hearing these stories. You know,
Yeah.
the real New Edition fans still ask about, what was supposed to be your debut, Living in a Dream, which was supposed to come before, the album that ended up coming out. I mean, is there anything you can share with us about that project?
Man, what you know about that living in a dream?
I've heard about it. I've heard
I
about
tell
it here
you,
and there.
that's my greatest album that never was to me.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
I always felt like if that album would have came out during the time frame I was working on it, it would have changed the whole direction of my life. You know, how people viewed me as a songwriter, a producer, an artist early on. I was still in 18, 19 or so, and I think somewhere in there, 19,
Mm,
20-ish, when I was writing and getting ready to move that around, or wanted to move it around, at least I was putting it together in the hopes that I can get it out there. But it never happened, man. So the songs that was on that album were kind of like what I'm talking about now, songs that really reflected my life, really reflected how I felt about myself and heard myself as a singer and as an artist. I never got a chance to let the world hear that. I went in instead and did the Heartbreak album. I did the Heartbreak album instead, and I wish I had to get a chance to put that out. And I don't to this day know where the masters are. I don't know where none of that stuff is for that song. Yeah, I don't have a cassette of it, and it's something I played daily. And the people who was around me at the time that heard that album was like, whoa. It was blown away, from personal families and friends to the record company at the time. Everybody was like, this project is fire. But never got a chance to share it with the world, man. So I wish I could have found it so I could have put out that album just as a, some kind of novelty project. Just this is what I was going to do in the 80s or early 80s, or it was in the mid 80s. I was going to do this project, but instead I ended up doing New Edition so they could at least feel it, or some of the songs at least. But I can't even find the stuff or the masters to that, so I can't even mess with it. Yeah.
Well, it's crazy hearing you talk about being 18, years old at the time, working on that album. Most people when they're 18 years old are in high school, finishing up their high school. What type of pressure was it on you as an artist during, to perform and to release such great music? When other people your age are still doing, school. It's crazy.
At that point, I was feeling really confident. The fan base had spoken. The record companies' push and the budgets that we had to do things was massive. You know what I'm saying? So I always felt like it wasn't that bad. All we had to do was have the right records. We did have people around us selecting certain songs, or at least putting the right songs in front of us so that we can choose which ones we wanted to sing or not, or that we thought fit. But overall, I felt very confident that we were at the peak of breaking through. Every time we did a project back then, it always felt like we was at the peak, or on the verge of breaking through that barrier that we all see ourselves at the top of it. Where we see all of the greats, the Jacksons, the Temptations, Smokey Robinson, Gladys Knight, Lionel Richie, all these people that we looked at as greats. We saw ourselves at the pinnacle of breaking through some sort of ceiling that you had to break through to be noticed as that. And all of our careers, we just never felt like that was happening. Each time we went in the studio, it's like, hey man, maybe this is the project, maybe this is the album, no, this is the one, this is the album. When we do this, we're gonna break through that barrier, man, and be in amongst the greats and this, that, and the other. So you never really feel like that. And even right now, I know now you hear and think, man, you guys are legendary and you're this, and I'm like, we are. So we actually reached that section where I didn't even realize it, that you're sitting in that seat and you don't even realize it, until people start reflecting it back to you. And so that's what it's been like probably the last 10 years, maybe a little less, feeling that reflection of being called a legend in the game, somebody that stood the test of time. And you starting to hear this, and you start scratching your head. Okay, well, maybe I am. Maybe I have been doing this, or I do sit around some of the greatest who've ever done this, and that's what I've always wanted to be. We always wanted to do that and be set, talked about in the same conversation that some of the greats have been talked about.
Right. I think I saw some comments from your fans. Been a legend since 18, Ralph. Best group ever. I think that sums it up right there. You can't really dispute that.
Man, you hear from them and said, that's it. But to us and to myself, I've always felt like there's more to do. There's we still haven't reached that yet, because I don't know what it is. It's something about being in the seat. You don't feel it, and I guess I don't feel it. Maybe some do. Maybe some of the members will tell you different. But from my perspective, I've always felt like, there's something that we still haven't done that seems like will put us in that realm of those great, great artists. But when you look back at it all in retro and you see all the different accolades, when they start giving you stuff like, the star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, they start doing life stories about your group that break records, and you start realizing, okay, well, maybe we are in that. Maybe we are in that realm. Yeah.
Exactly. Love it. Ralph, I know you're on a tight schedule. We're just about out of time, but before we get out of here, anything you'd like to add?
I just, again, want to tell thank you for having me today. And I want to thank all the fans and all the Rizz riders and the New Edition for Life family, um, for making sure that just supporting us. You've supported everything from day one, the individual projects, the New Edition throughout the years. You come to all the concerts. You buy all of the merchandise. And I'm gonna tell you, every time we step on stage or we're trying to find the right suit or we're working real hard rehearsing, when I'm doing all these things, I know and I can speak for the other fellas in the group too. Well, it's all for you guys. This is to impress you. We do this every time. We would have gave up years ago. What we're trying to reestablish and keep up to par with, and make sure we're sharp and just got the right lights on stage and the right sound system in the room. We're doing all that stuff for you guys. And thank you for the motivation, because that keeps us being professionals. That keeps us on our toes and never taken for granted, being at our best when we do things. So I love y'all, and I thank y'all a million times over for what you've brought to my life and what you've brought to all of our lives throughout the years. All right. Rizz
Awesome.
Ride is in need for life, man.
Thanks so much, Ralph.
Thanks again, my friend.
We'll talk
Anytime.
soon. Take care.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. Yep.